SmackDown took place tonight in Charlotte, North Carolina. Drew McIntyre, the undisputed WWE champion, kicked off the show tonight, but he was immediately attacked by the former champion Cody Rhodes, who was eliminated by Drew at the Royal Rumble this past Saturday. Cody attacks him, Drew retreats, then Cody cuts a promo on Drew. Then he talks about being born in Charlotte. The match with Drew obviously is going to happen, likely at WrestleMania. I just hope there's a stipulation. Maybe they add Jacob Fatu in a triple threat match. I think that's less likely. But if they're going to do a stipulation, it's hard to go from a 3 stages of hell match to just another singles match. Maybe they should make it a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. That's what I was thinking, to add some more interest, because I think just a Drew and Cody singles match again at WrestleMania, I don't think that's very interesting to a lot of people. And to be honest, I'm really not that high on the Roman Reigns CM Punk match either. So after that, we go backstage, and Kathy Kelly was interviewing Julia and Kiana James ahead of their title match, and they're going for the tag team titles. Julia wants to be a double champion, and all I thought was Kiana is overshadowing Julia because of her cleavage. I'll just say it really bluntly like that. That's all I thought. Io Sky was out next, then Rhea Ripley, her tag team partner, and the other half of the women's tag team champions came out to a big pop, as you would expect. Then after the break, Nick Aldis told Cody Rhodes he has to qualify for the Chamber next week, so he'll be in another Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Julia and Kiana James were out next to no reaction, as you'd probably expect. Then we get the Women's Tag Team Championships on the line. Io Sky and Rhea Ripley defending their titles against Kiana James and Julia. So we had Io take on Julia to start. And I thought Julia was actually doing pretty good here as a heel. The heels got the heat on Io until she makes the hot tag to Rhea. The match gets really good. There was a "This is awesome" chant, and then eventually Rhea hits the Riptide on Julia, and then Io hits the over the moonsault onto Julia, and then Rhea pins her for the win. So Julia is now taking the pins for the team. I always thought the reason they put Julia and Kiana together was never to help Julia, it was to get Kiana James over. That's who they really want to push. And it's pretty obvious. She just overshadows Julia because of how she's dressed. I don't think it was ever a good pairing, and it's not going to help Julia at all. Backstage, Ilya Dragunov was confronted by The Miz. I thought this sucked. Miz got his title match canceled, but then Carmelo Hayes says he can get a title shot. He's facing The Miz tonight. Just go away, Miz. I don't want to see this guy on my television screen anymore. Then The Miz makes his entrance. After the break, Carmelo Hayes was out. Carmelo Hayes took on The Miz. Carmelo got the win. Less said, the better. Nothing to say here. In the locker room, Kathy Kelly was actually interviewing Tiffany Stratton ahead of her qualifying match tonight, which was a triple threat match against Chelsea Green, her former best friend. Remember when they were aligned like a year and a half ago, until Tiffany turned on her at that Money in the Bank show in Toronto? That was actually the same show that John Cena announced that he would retire the following year and have his retirement tour. But that's when Tiffany turned on her. They used to be friends, but Chelsea and Alba kind of mock her, and they're trying to recruit her into the Secret Service. They go back and forth. Tiffany gets the last word then. I actually think they have good chemistry together, Tiffany and Chelsea. And I think Tiffany can do more. I just don't think she's going to do too well in this role as the face, because I think people are more into Chelsea. So Lash Legend was out next with Nia Jax. Then we got a Wyatt Six promo on Solo Sikoa. I don't give a shit about the Wyatt Six. I'm not going to lie. I do not care about them at all. As I knew that would happen. They had a cool debut on Raw a couple years ago when they killed everyone. The massacre backstage. Now no one gives a shit. After the break, Chelsea Green was out with Alba Fire. Then Tiffany Stratton came out, and we got a triple threat match, women's qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. Tiffany Stratton versus Chelsea Green versus Lash Legend. So Chelsea hit a crossbody to the outside, taking out both of her opponents. Lash did some power moves to both Chelsea and Tiffany, in which she lifted both of them up at the same time together. I think she had Tiffany on her back and Chelsea on her arms, or around her chest. It actually looked pretty cool. But I think that was on the break. I don't know if that was on. It was the break, as in the people on Netflix watching internationally. We saw it, but I don't know if the viewers in the U.S. saw it. But that looked cool. But yeah, Lash is still very green. She just shouldn't be here. I think my biggest issue at Lash is not it's not the fact that she's not very good. She's big, and I see why they want to push her, but it's like she's not good in the ring, and there's so many women in NXT who are way better than her and haven't been called up. Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, Sol Ruka, Blake Monroe, Kendall Gray, and she hasn't been doing this for very long. Even someone who I really don't like that much, JC Jane. Fallon Henley, I think, has a lot more. She's a lot better than Lash Legend. So many of those women in NXT are better than her, and they're just not getting the same opportunities as her because they don't have her size. I think that's my biggest issue, and she did not have a good showing at the Rumble. It's weird because at Survivor Series she had a tremendous showing in the War Games match, but the Rumble, not a good showing. She messed up a lot, and she was messing up here too. Chelsea was the most over person in this match. Tiffany, I swear to God, had a wardrobe malfunction. Now, maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe I want to see things. I don't know. But like she, I don't want to say this, but she doesn't have much covering on her chest. She has a very her top is very tight, and like the way I think Lash had her upside down. I don't know. Anyway, but the Nick and Alba eventually, Nick Aldis, let's think of Nick Aldis for some reason, not Nick Aldis, Nia Jax and Alba Fire eventually get involved. Eventually, what happens is Lash is taken out of the match, and then Tiffany is left in the ring with Chelsea. She finishes her off, hits her with the prettiest moonsault ever, and Tiffany Stratton qualifies for the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Now, 2 years ago, she had her debut at the Chamber in 2024, and that's when she got really over. If you recall, that show was in Australia. She was super over in that match, but we'll see what happens now. She's in the Chamber, and she's definitely one of the favorites, you would have to think. So backstage, Kathy Kelly interviews Randy Orton before his triple threat match tonight, which was the main event. Then Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, this is not Zelina Vega, Zelina confront him before the match tonight. I don't know what Zelina's doing now. It's like she's just playing Scarlet. I don't know. Kit Wilson was out next. He's doing very good here. He's a good heel. He calls all the men in the Rumble toxic. He's getting over. He's a good heel now. He calls out anyone who was in the Rumble to face him in a match. Oba Femi comes out, and we get an impromptu match, or not really a match, just a squash. Oba Femi absolutely murders Kit Wilson as you'd expect. He's getting over. I think they're doing a good job with Oba. We'll see what program he gets at WrestleMania if he has one. But I think, you know what, they're doing very good by Oba Femi right now. And if people were worried about him not getting a major push, them not seeing him as a top star, I think the way they're pushing him, it's clear that he's going to be a player in this company very soon. After that, we had R-Truth and Damian Priest watching the footage. Priest looks annoyed as Truth is impressed, and then Drew McIntyre actually bumps into R-Truth. Priest briefly confronts him. That's just to tease that could be a potential direction to go to in WrestleMania, which I don't think will happen. Drew McIntyre was out next, but then right when he gets in the ring, Jacob Fatu jumps him, and Drew has to run away. He goes into the crowd. Fatu goes after him there, and he thinks Drew is the one who knocked his teeth out all those months ago on SmackDown. After the break, backstage, Nick Aldis tells Jacob Fatu he must qualify for the Chamber match next week. Shinsuke Nakamura was out next, and then Tama Tonga was out with JC Mateo and Tonga Loa. No Solo or Tala Tonga. I think they were ready for the main event, but we did not see Tala Tonga. He was the only member of the MFT who we did not see tonight. We had Shinsuke Nakamura and Tama Tonga. Tonga won after a cutthroat. Not much to say here. Fraxium and the Motor City Machine Guns were walking backstage. And then Candice LeRae walks up and she reveals we see Johnny Gargano. He's so depressed. He's laying like face down on the production box after losing Axiom's mask last week. She then tries to recruit the Guns to her side. They decline. Shelly declines right away, but Sabin declines right away, but Shelly kind of in a way was contemplating it. Not much to do right now for Johnny. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to join his friend soon in the other company. Backstage, Kathy Kelly interviewed Rhea Ripley and Io Sky after retaining their tag team titles tonight. Then Nia Jax and Lash Legend confront them. They're awful. This is going to suck. I don't want to see this. Then Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan actually walk by them. Rhea looks on as Liv walks past her former rival. And Liv was on SmackDown as she promised. After the break, Kit Wilson was backstage. He mocked Matt Cardona and Apollo Crews, who I forgot was even still with this company. I had no idea, but he calls them toxic, whatever. Nick Aldis introduced Liv Morgan, and she was out with Raquel Rodriguez. Liv says, "This is, you have to pay attention to this. She's the hottest, smartest, funniest. What do you notice? Hottest? Maybe that's right. She has to be up there, at least in the top 5 easily. Top 3 maybe. But hottest, EST. Smartest, EST. Funniest. Last 3 letters, EST. She's channeling her inner Bianca Belair. And if you're a Bianca Belair fan, I think you should be very happy, very excited at least, because it looks like she might make her comeback. She might return, and she'll definitely win the Elimination Chamber. Maybe she goes on to face Jade. Jade and Jordynne Grace isn't going to happen at WrestleMania now. We know that for sure. So, I mean, she's channeling her inner Bianca Belair. Hopefully, we see Bianca next week. Hopefully we see her during the road to WrestleMania. I hope so, because she's had like the weirdest injury. We haven't seen her in so long, but that was not by accident. Then she addressed Raquel Rodriguez after she lost to Stephanie Vaquer this past Raw on Monday, but then Jade Cargill came out and interrupted her. She says she'll beat Liv's ass at WrestleMania. Then Jordynne Grace came out. They have a back and forth with Liv and Raquel. In a funny moment, both Jade and Jordynne tell Liv, "Shut up, bitch." It's kind of like the Rock meme where he tells Stephanie McMahon all those years ago on Raw, "Shut up, bitch." And like they kind of did that with Liv. At least I think that's what they were doing. And then we had, I think Aldis came out, made a tag team match. Or he was actually already there, but he made a tag match. We got Jade Cargill and Jordynne Grace taking on Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. It was actually kind of a fast match. Jordynne Grace actually pins Raquel with a roll-up. This doesn't bother me because Raquel already lost to Stephanie. She had a bad performance in that match. No offense to Raquel, but clearly they're building up to something where Raquel's going to turn, or Liv and Roxanne Perez, who is not on this show, unfortunately, but maybe Liv and Roxanne turn on Raquel. But Jade and Jordynne got the win here. So we see Sami Zayn walking backstage, looking all dejected. Rey Fenix tries to cheer him up, talking to him, and then Trick Williams mocked him. He called him Charles Barkley. So he's calling Sami Zayn Charles Barkley because he always chokes. He's like the kind of guy who makes the playoffs every year but chokes. And Trick says he's Michael Jordan. Look, I'm not a Trick fan, but I actually thought that was actually a good line here. It was clever, but it was kind of weird because Michael Jordan's from North Carolina. He played in Chicago, but I mean, he's from North Carolina. He went to the University of North Carolina, and it was, you're going to get cheered when you mention Michael Jordan in North Carolina. I don't know. But I thought this was actually a clever line here, and I think it sets up another match with Trick and Phoenix, which who wants to see that, really? Now, since this was in Charlotte, the most famous wrestler ever from Charlotte, I believe, did an interview this past week in which he wants to have another match at age 76. Ric Flair wants to wrestle, but then he backtracked on those comments, hopefully from the advice of his daughter, Charlotte Flair, who was not on the show, by the way. She was doing media for the WWE in Santa Clara, where the Super Bowl is, so she was not on the show. And her tag team partner, Alexa Bliss, was also not on the show. She's going to be on next week, but no Charlotte, no Alexa. I guess I realized, she's doing media right now, but it's Charlotte, North Carolina. We expect to see the Queen, Charlotte Flair, on the show. After the break, Jordynne Grace and Jade Cargill were arguing backstage. Nick and Aldis made a title match next week. Yeah, Aldis had so much to do on the show. Too much with the GM on the show. Drew McIntyre was back out. He stands on the announce table, cuts a promo on his potential opponents. I just thought this would be so much better as a 2-hour show. Too much happening. There's too many segments with the same people, and I think that's what makes the show tiresome. When you start seeing someone 2 to 3 times on the same show, it's one thing when they're doing a backstage segment and they're having a match. That's fine, but when they're like doing multiple segments, Drew came out 3 times on this show, and I get it, he's the champ, But 3 times, that's too much. Especially when it's more than one promo. Anyway, after that, Trick Williams is out. He has an interaction with Drew. He says he's out there to watch the main events, and they're teasing something with Drew and Trick. That's not going to happen anytime soon, but it could happen in the future. Then they preview next week's show on Sci-Fi. They're going head-to-head with the Winter Olympics, by the way. So they're going to get crushed, and that's why they're on Sci-Fi. Yeah, it's nothing. So it's going to be a throwaway show next week. Probably, it's 3 hours. It really should just be a 2-hour show next week. Kathy Kelly interviewed Solo Sikoa backstage. The MFTs were nowhere to be found, so maybe there was another massacre committed by the Wyatt Six. And then I just thought about this. I had to write this down. Whenever I see Aleister Black and Zelina Vega's entrance, or Zelina's entrance, man, I feel so bad for Karrion Kross and Scarlett. It's like they completely had them take the entrance. I'm not angry at Aleister and Zelina or anything like that, but man, they totally had them rip off the entrance. Then Randy Orton made his entrance, and we get a triple threat match, main event, qualifying match for Elimination Chamber. Randy Orton versus Solo Sikoa versus Aleister Black. So Randy was the obvious fan favorite. Randy hit an RKO to Aleister Black, and then he hit another one to Solo Sikoa to win the match. It was actually pretty cool. Solo was going for the Samoan spike, and Randy hit the RKO before that to Aleister. He rolled out of the ring, but then Solo was stalking him, kind of how Randy would when he's stalking for an RKO. Solo stalking him with the spike, but Randy hit the RKO before he really could turn around and pin Solo to qualify for the Chamber. And that was SmackDown for this week. I just thought the show would have been so much better as a 2-hour show. It drags on for an eternity when it's 3 hours. SmackDown does not need to be a 3-hour show. It's better when it's 2. And I know last year it was a 2-hour show. A lot of those shows sucked. This is not a bad show, though. The content in 2026, at least, has been much better than 2025 for SmackDown, but the issue is when it's a 3-hour show, it drags, especially when we see the same people over and over again. It just feels like the show will never end. And I think that's the biggest issue with SmackDown right now. I really wish this was a 2-hour show, but it was better than last week and the show before the Rumble in Saudi. Better than 2 weeks ago, the one in Montreal, and that was not good. The last 2 SmackDowns were not good. This was a good SmackDown, I thought, but again, a 2-hour show, it could be really good to great, actually, but that's what we got. So, I also had to mention this. We are on the Friday. Maybe some of you are listening to this on Saturday. Most of you, actually, but Super Bowl Sunday is right around the corner. It's the 60th Super Bowl in Santa Clara, California, where the 49ers play. And it's going to be between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. Super Bowl 60. So last year I made my prediction. I got the team right. I had the Eagles beating the Chiefs. And I thought it would be a close game. It was a blowout. Here it's funny. A lot of people are predicting a blowout. I don't think it's a blowout. I think the Seahawks will beat the Patriots. I think they're a much better team. They've been the best team in football all year, the Seahawks. Patriots are good. They'll keep it close, I think, because they have a good defense. But I think the Seahawks are the better team. This is my prediction. I believe the Seattle Seahawks beat the New England Patriots by a score of 24-17. That's my prediction for Super Bowl 60. Hopefully I can go 2 for 2. I got last year's right. Maybe I get this year's right as well. Anyway, that wrapped up everything. Hopefully we get a good road to WrestleMania, and everyone enjoyed the Super Bowl on Sunday.